Today we're going to be talking about gold, picking up from where we left off, which was last week's video on gold, and we're just going to take it from there. So guys, if you find this content useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you turn on the notification, and you drop us a like. Like I said, we are working together to get to the bag, right? Super important stuff. These are the things we need. These are the things we want. And obviously, I'm assisting with the process in securing that bag. So I think I'm worth a subscribe and turning on the notification on for. So with that said, let's get straight into it. So right now we're looking at this on a day, and I'm not going to lie, this chart is looking really busy. It's looking really busy. So let me just see where I derived this from. Okay, so this is just a reminder as to where I got this from, because I need to get rid of this right now. I need to get rid of this right now, and I need to get rid of some of the levels on here. Reason why I'm doing all of that is simply put, it's just too busy. It's just too busy, right? It's too busy, and it's just gonna create a situation where it's not helpful. Okay. I'm just thinking, how do I want to do this? Do I only want to focus on this area or everything else? Because going back this far, okay, get rid of that. All right, so we're going to get straight into it now. So we're looking at everything on the day so far, right? And on the previous week's analysis that I did, right? So that would have been last week. Let's go to 4 hours, right? We've got a couple of moves that took place. So weekly low hasn't been taken out, but weekly high has been taken out, right? So weekly high has been taken out, but weekly low has not, based on the previous week. So if we go to last week, which is week just gone, let's get rid of all of these for now, but this thing can get cluttered quite quick. And before you know it, it stops making, well, I mean, I'll always be able to find that it is solid, but sometimes just looking at this it is just too noisy. It is just too noisy. So the weekly high was set for us on a Monday, right? We have that here, and then we have the weekly low that we got on the Thursday set for us here. Okay, so it's fair to assume that this weekly high last week has been taken out. Right, it was taken out on Monday. Monday could be the new high, and also Monday as well could be the new low. But we're yet to see which is going to take over which. Right, that's what we're waiting to see. That is what we're waiting to see. But the main thing is we can see clearly that the high has been taken out. So we're going to use the volume profile to help us with this process, right? But also, we also need to be mindful of the fact of the danger in this area right here, which is the high side of the high value area of the volume profile, right? So we want to be mindful of that area. Reason being is that price could reject from that level and then begin to push all the way back down again to this low side of the high value area. And this area right here, which is where we can see this area right here, this is the low value nodes, right? That would encourage a bounce back up to the upside, And this area is where we have a low value node right here, right? This is the area that could encourage a drop back down to the downside. That's what I'm saying. We need to be careful of these areas. These low value nodes right here, this one right here, and this one right here, as well as the one underneath, as well as the other one underneath. These are places where we could get a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of playing around, maybe a bounce to the breakdown. So these things could happen in these areas, right? But the main thing that we want to take away from this right now is the decision that we make in this area. Okay. In my opinion, I think it might be best just waiting, right? And once again, not financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor, but I think it might be a good idea just to wait, just because of its proximity to this zone right here. Okay, and once we have some type of confirmation up here, we'll know what to do. So at this point, it's a little bit like this. Sometimes you have to wait for price. Well, in my opinion, can't speak for anybody else, but in my opinion, sometimes you have to wait for price to get to certain levels or certain places, right, before we can jump in, just because it's going to make our technicals that much stronger and our analysis that much stronger. It's going to help us in certain ways to make sure that we get certain things done in the correct order. Do you know what I mean? So with that said and done, that'll be my analysis. That will be what I think we should be mindful of moving forward. And also as well, this is where we need to bring in trend lines. So when things start going wrong or things start breaking down, we can kind of, this can be what I would like to call as an early warning detection system, right? Early warning detection system. So I will draw a trend line on the 4 hour, just like this, right? And what that will do for me is that will keep me tracking what price is doing, if it's indeed going to follow through or if it's going to break down. And also as well, because I would have decided to wait, see what price actually wants to do before it does anything, this will help to say that if when I do jump in, there's a high possibility that it's going to be moving in the direction that I want it to, right? It's going to be a high possibility of that. So as it stands, the level of concern right now it is, and that was the previous week's high, which has just been taken out yesterday, which is 3,356.85, right? And the low side is 3,246.68, right? So if either one of these levels is normally taken out, we follow along in that direction. As it stands right now, this is the side that has been taken out, so we should be looking for buys right now. But this area over here is what is causing me to pause. This area is what is causing me to pause. The low value node in this area and price being on the high side of the high value area, right? So with that, now let's take a look to see what we can do, right, on a smaller time frame. What kind of moves we can make on a smaller time frame that could help us with this entire process. So we're going to jump from the 4 hour and we're going to go to the 1 hour now, right? We're going to go to the 1 hour now and we're going to see exactly what is taking place right now. Okay, so we have a low value node in this area right here, right? A low value node in this area right here. So we're going to use that as a guide. We're going to use that as a guide right now. Okay. Yep, that looks about right. So using this low value node area on the 1 hour as a guide, this is what I will be looking to do, right? First things first is we've had price blast through. You see how quickly price moved through the low value node area, right? That's what usually happens in these low value node areas. Price usually flies through them quite quick, right? So price has now flown through it. We can clearly see that it's gone above it. Okay, right? If I was looking for entries on buys, in all fairness, I would have thought about maybe taking a buy at that level. I would have thought about that, right? But however, that didn't happen. So obviously, we didn't take buys. Price has now come back into the zone again. So it's now in the low value node area. So what that basically means for me is this: if I'm thinking about taking entries, I want to take my buys. I want to take my buys with a confirmed close above this level, which would be 3,378.48, right? That's what I would want to take my buys from. And my sells, I would want to close below 3,351.83, right? Now, with where we are, okay, so this is the issue that we have right here. If we go to the 1 hour, everything shifts. Low value node price will be above the high value area, right, of the volume profile. So as you can see, price is in the low value area right now, and this is the high value area. This is why I keep saying that the volume profile is a bit of an art, right? It's a bit of an art. So the guide that I'm going to be working with off this volume profile is going to be on the 4 hour. Now let's see what happens when we jump to the 4 hour. Price is now inside of the high value area. Okay, let's see when we go to day. The day is following along with price being in the high value area. Okay, with the low value node, and we can see price is kind of like playing around in there right now. It could push upwards, it could break down. We don't really know. We have to wait and see what happens, right? So with that said and done, let's go back to the 4 hour, because I think that's the best one to actually use right now to actually help us, right? And let's just see what is worth waiting for. What is worth waiting for right now? What is worth waiting for? So as it stands, if we catch the buy from up here to the upside, okay, we are looking at, say, 51 ticks or 51 pips to the upside. Yeah, 51.50, or let's call it 52 pips to the upside, right? If we get a close above this level and we ride it up, that's what we will get, right? Before, obviously, you could consider jumping out or doing whatever it is you want to do. At the same time, let's see what kind of move we could get from, how much we could get from down here. So we'll be looking at, say, 474 pips to the downside, a 14% drop, if price moves in the way that we kind of want it to. And this might take a good couple days, maybe about a week or two, for it to fulfill itself, right? So as it stands, there is more potential to the downside than there is to the upside in this small macro move we're looking at, right? Because you have to bear in mind, overall, gold is moving up. It goes up. It is an asset that moves upwards, right? So with that in mind, you want to be, if you can get the price down here, this is where you want to load up from. If you can get price down here, this is where you want to load up from, in my opinion. So with all of that said and done, right, once again, I've come over here. I've shown you the how I plan on navigating the market, how I plan to move in the market. Now it's upon you to go and do the checks to make sure that everything makes sense before you go and jump in, right? So with that said, make sure, if you haven't done so already, you've hit that subscribe button, you've turned on the notification, right? And if you find the content useful, drop us a like. So therefore, whenever I drop a video, you'll be one of the first to see it, right? And I will see you all on the next one.